things certain effects, which were not true. As a matter of fact, some of these things are prescribed that are almost poisonous. But back then they also started dealing with things that are like homeopathy and allopathy. And to describe what allopathy is and homeopathy is something to understand where modern medicine is. Modern medicine is allopathy. They find things that fix the problem. In other words, like horehound, it helps calm coughs. That's allopathy. Using a diluted version of arsenic that can cause coughs is homeopathy, but it's diluted to the point where it's not poisonous. It's diluted like 1 part per 180,000 water. Even the Queen of England uses it to help control coughs for speeches. Now that's an 18C dilution. It's a matter how far these things can get diluted. The thing is, it's supposed to mimic the same problem your body's having to encourage your body to fight it. Then your body fights it and then fights whatever the disease that you're having or issue that you're having. It's dangerous because if you don't do it in the right mode, you can get people, you can make people really sick or die. But the thing is, it's making sure the stuff's diluted and you don't use it all the time. Modern New Age things, they have things diluted, they call it 30C. You can find them in herb stores, and basically it's water. You dilute it so much that you're likely to have trace chemicals, even from distilled water, that's still in there, that's more than the water, the type of solution you created in the first place. That goes on a concept of memory of water, which is more of a New Age thing, which is fine and does work if it's prepared with an operator who believes, receives that energy, imparts the energy, and continues the energy to maintain that memory of water to do an effect. Will it stay there in a store for 3 months? No. That's, the expectations are wrong. And if you have people trying to make it who don't care about it, it isn't going to work either. So, herbs going back to herbs, herbs work pharmaceutically. They can also work topically or just in presence. And the thing is, that's one reason why you have to pay attention to how the herbs are prepared pharmaceutically for your health, because there's components that are soluble in water, there's some that are soluble in oil, and some that will only come out in alcohol. That's why you have food infusions, you have decoctions and tinctures. Fusions, steeped. Decoctions, you boil it. That gets the resins and the acrid bit out of it. Another way to get all of it out is using alcohol. And there's other means of doing it. And sometimes alcohol is the only thing that will get it out. Sometimes it'll get it all out. It'll be different components. The thing is, that's an empirical process. When people started doing this, it was not the understanding of organic chemistry and how to pull components out of herbs was not known, but they learned it by, well, this works and didn't kill somebody, and eventually people built a long list of things that worked, and got few people in Europe that remembered the stuff without having been burned. Here you learn stuff from the Native Americans, and then people tried things along the way. You'll find good herbal books that have that. Since the 50s, you'll find a lot more books have magical herbalism, and you'll talk about, from their own particular folkways, traditions, what they'll do. The the thing is find out, it's like anything else, find out what works for you. Now if you're burning them and for incense and what have you, one of the few things that people don't realize is that most of the stuff that you burn has resin in it. Resin has this particular properties where it has this electroweak property where it can repulse certain other items. It's like, why does your hand stick on glass one day and it's slippery the next? Why do water droplets beat up like grease one day at the same temperature and another day it's slippery and slick as glass? Those are factors of cohesion and adhesion. This is a fancy chemistry terms about weak nuclear properties that change how things are sticky or not sticky. Well, the same thing with herbs. Everything has a certain characteristic of it, and herbs will do that. So people will use herbs like sage or lavender or other things like that to have a particular resin to help dispel certain types of energy or atoms or what have you. If you just want to look at it at a scientific level. But at the same time, that is an influence because it's an energetic influence and it's passive. All you have to do is burn it. All you have to do is drink a tea and it will actually interact with your body. So keep in mind the books that have a lot of religious or New Age concepts thrown about. A lot of it's people have copied it from other authors. They wrote it down. They probably have a list of a bibliography. They haven't tried it all themselves. And you find some of the more modern books with even more and larger lists of everything that this thing could possibly do. Well, it may have worked for one person one time, another person a different way. Well, this goes along with the concept of Chinese medicine. Everybody's body functions a different way. It's in a different balance. So one herb will push the body in one direction, where if you have a different physiology, a different temperament, or other issues, that herb may not have any effect, or it may have a bad effect. So that's why Chinese medicine tends to have more of this empirical process that they go through. The same thing in acupuncture. It's found what works, but even acupuncture developed a way of diagnosing the holistic reality of a person's body, and so they put labels on it, which becomes now a tradition or a folkway or a pathway of saying, okay, the person has more yin or yang or something like that, but they're doing it from pulse points and looking at people's tongues and eyes and looking at the color of their skin, how they're breathing. All these are subtle characteristics that are your physiology. So the one divination system that's a natural magic that doesn't have to use energy is palm reading.